Okay folks, we're back at it again, getting ready to, we'll tack this just a little bit more and then pull it off. And I know somebody commented about the TIG welding. I would much rather TIG weld this, but the problem is I don't know how to TIG weld. Never tried it. Probably should get me one and practice a little bit and learn. But the thing about it is you know, most people learn a trade or learn what they're doing either, you know, from a father or from working somewhere, you know, at a garage or at a machine shop or something like that. And I guess that's my problem. I've worked for myself since I was about 22, and it seems like if I want to learn something, I've got to learn it on my own. And you know, if I want to learn how to run a milling machine, I got to go buy one and bring it. But I mean, so you know, I don't have the advantage of going to school. I don't have the advantage of learning it from a dad or grandpa or an uncle or anything like that. So I've just got to learn stuff on my own as I go. So. But you know, I do need to TIG weld this. I mean, I'd much rather do it. I've seen it done, and I mean, I know it's a lot better job, but we're going to do the best we can do with what we got to work with. And that's the best thing you can do, because you know, over the years I've got all these trucks and stuff, but I've never actually financed nothing. And you know, the reason that I've got them is because, you know, I've worked with what I had. I didn't wait around for you know, something that I didn't have to make things easier. I worked with what I had to get what I got. And you know, if it was for example, if it was a tow and back when I didn't have a rollback, and let's say it was an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive, I wouldn't think twice about jumping up under and pulling a drive shaft, or you know, throwing a set of dollies under a vehicle and going with it. And that's the difference. That's what gets you ahead in life. You know, if you're willing to jump in there and do something, and you know, just because you don't have the tools or the equipment to make it easier, you know, that's just an excuse not to do it. Okay folks, here's where we're at on this. I went ahead and bolted it to a 1-inch plate instead of clamping it, because I was too afraid it was going to move. So we've got it bolted down. I put a little more weld on it before I took it off. I didn't need it breaking loose. But what we're going to do now is go ahead and do the outsides, and we'll just take a piece of paper and make what we need. I'm going to grind just a little bit to make sure these are good and straight. And one thing about it, we want to make sure we get enough heat in this thing that it penetrates really good, because we're going to grind it, and we don't want to, you know, grind down and make it crack. So I'm actually going to make sure of it, and we may make it a little bit small. I don't mind there being a gap in it. I'd rather have a little bit of a gap than no gap. But we're going to have to put a pretty sharp bend down this end, and then right here where it goes back. But what I'll do is I've got a little slip roll. It's 11-inch wide, but it's an antique one. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll roll that and get it to right, and then we'll do this bend, and then you know, this won't take much right here. You know, you could about bend this in and hammer it in an 1/8 inch, but we're going to try to make it look pretty decent. So, all right. Okay, folks, here's my old slip roll. This thing is probably late 1800s, and old hand crank, and I think it's about 11 inches in there. It might be 12, but I picked this up. I had bought another machine, and the guy actually threw this in on it, so I really don't have any money in it. You know, the plans was to get it in the shop and tear it down and clean it all up and redo it, but he left it sitting out at his place. I've left it sitting out at my place, and hopefully one day we'll get on this thing, and maybe when we get the rest of the building added onto the back, we can do it and have room for it. But I'm going to go ahead and see if we can roll up one of the pieces for that and see how it works out. Okay, a little close to the machine because where I got to clamp the camera here, but we're going to see if we can roll this one time to see what happens here. That's bad. I don't know if you noticed or not, but that wheel right there is stuck. It's not even turning, but it's still done a pretty good job. We'll just keep doing this and then checking the fitment. Yeah, I think we got to go just a little bit more. Not much, but we can go a little bit more, and then we can tweak it from there. All right. Okay, I think that'll work. It's pretty good, and we'll take it in there and see if we can get our other bends done to it and get it on there. Okay, we're gonna do our bend real quick. Okay, that'll look good. Okay folks, just wanted to show you this real quick. I got this thing off them blocks, engine's in, but as you can see it still sits pretty high and stiff in the front. And you know, like I said, this thing was raced a little bit back in the early 70s, late 60s. And you can see they've got twist-in blocks. I know that's not factory, but that's some old one. But there's only two in it, so as high as this thing is, they may have put some little stronger springs in it. I don't remember them sitting up like that, but maybe they did. All right, I don't have the cross member done yet. I've just got this. I got something holding the transmission up so we could get it off the jack and or off the stands. And the nut for that spindle's missing on the wheel bearing, which is not a big deal because I think I'm going to see what I can do about putting some disc brakes on the front of this thing. And I've got a, I think it's going to be too wide, but I'm going to check. I've got a Ford Explorer rear end. This disc brake we may stick in it. We'll see how that goes. But we've got to get to work here soon, pretty soon on the interior. And you know, it's ragged as can be. We'll just get it cleaned out and see what we can do with it. There's just a couple places in the floors that's going to need a little work. And the quarters has got some problems, but nothing really. I mean, some stuff needs cut out and put back in, but it's not so bad that it needs a whole quarter or anything like that. We may cut that fender off, cut our parts car fender off at the top and replace that whole bottom panel. And I do want to get that bumper and stuff off and go ahead and get, you know, the grill and stuff in it. And that grill is not the right year grill, and it's made a little bit different. It will fit in, and that's all I'm going to worry about. And but it looks pretty neat. I like the stance on it. You know, it's still sitting up pretty high, especially in the front. I mean, it's not like a gasser where it's sitting really high, but it's not too bad. And I went ahead and got it off the blocks because I want to get it over on the concrete to work on the cross member and the drive shaft. And, well, of course, the drive shaft I'm going to wait until I figure the rear end out. But either way, we're going to get back on the exhaust manifold on the Perkins and go ahead and see if we can get it knocked out today, and maybe get the engine set back in the truck today. And since we've got this one in, and I do have a set of headers coming, long tube stainless headers. And the reason that I went ahead and bought the stainless is because the steel long tube were $108, the stainless was $115. So $7 difference, you know, it's sort of a no-brainer. But so we'll get them on. I got a distributor coming, and it's actually an electronic distributor, but it's got a GM module in it. So I mean, it's an update distributor. The only difference between it and HEI GM is it don't have the coil in the cap, so it's got a smaller cap, and we can use a external coil. And we've got our carburetor, need to get it cleaned up and a little work done to it, and we'll get it on and start seeing if we can get everything figured out to where we can get this thing fired. And it'll take a little bit of time because I'm waiting on a few things, and I've got a radiator for it and everything. So, but we will we'll keep at it. All right, back on the Perkins. Okay, folks, we've got one panel welded in so far, and this thing, it's actually shaping up to be. It feels like it's really going to be strong, and you know, we're still going to run a bracket on the turbo for the weight, but I think it's going to come out fine. But got this one in. We're going to go ahead and do the other one. I'm still debating on whether I want to grind a lot on that or not. It kind of worries me. I don't want to get it down to where, once you start grinding, you really can't tell how much weld you got on, and I don't want any cracks to come in this thing later. So I may just leave it. We're going to get the other piece bent, get it in, and then we're going to do our inside piece. And I may have to take it out of our little jig there that's holding it to do it, but we'll see. Alright. Okay folks, here's where we're at. I didn't want to grind this down, but what I've done was I went ahead and put a bead on the inside, and you can see running all the way up. I've done that on the top and bottom there, and that way I wasn't so worried about grinding too much on this. So we're going to keep cleaning it up and do a little grinding here and there, and we'll get it all straightened out, and then we're going to put our back piece on. Now we'll have to weld it, leave the weld where you can see it, because like I said, I just don't want to grind any further than that. That's where we stand. We've got both ends on, both sides on, and it's going to take a little bit more cleaning up, but we'll go ahead and get this side ground and get the or go ahead and get the plate on the back now, I guess, and we'll go from there. All right. Okay, folks, here's where we're at. It looks rough, but it's not rough at all. It's actually just where it's sand marks. Let me see. We're going to make the inside piece now. Everything else is done. All this is welded up and finished up. Of course, this side's welded up and finished up. So, we've got some welds to clean up and, more grinding to do. But what we're going to do is the inside piece. I'm going to make it all in one piece, and then I'm actually going to, what you can do is, if you get your width right, you can build this up on top. And get the exact bends and the exact size, and then once you get it, you can, get your piece down in there and fight it in, because it's going to be a pain in the butt to get in there. But I want to try to leave it on this jig at least until I get it tacked in, and I'd rather actually, just about weld it in. We can always take these two bolts out, for the time being to be able to get it in, but that's what she's looking like. Moving right along, and I'll show you more as we get more done. Okay, we've got our inside piece made. Now I'm just going to have to fight with it a little bit to get it in there, and we'll see if we can get her welded up. Be done with this thing soon. Okay folks, here's the finished manifold. On something like this, it'll look as good as you put the time into it to look. That's actually the top there. But got just a little bit more to do. I mean, nothing major, but we're going to go ahead and get it bolted on there, and just temporary, and just put our turbo on there and see how she looks and how much distance we got behind the turbo, and I'll show you when I get it on there. Okay folks, here she is on there and complete. Turbo's hanging good. It's right there where I wanted it to be. It almost looks like it's stuck out a lot farther, but it's only out about an inch more than our original. Well, I say our original, our rat rod build. But one reason it looks like that's because it's so small of a turbo, and which it really don't matter. I mean, there's plenty of clearance. But that's it. Finished up, and the bolts are going to clear and everything. I'm still going to probably go with just get some bolts, go with socket head cap screws, and we'll get some gaskets made for it, or come up with some gaskets for it. And next, I think we'll set the engine in the truck. We should be able to do that on the next video, and we might go to making a few parts maybe for the Ford, but that's it for now. Quick, easy manifold. You know, not a whole lot of work involved. I mean, just some fabrication work. But anyway, all right. Till next time. Bye.